Well, I surely hope that it's not that long.
No, it'd probably be a few minutes, but we can go maybe an hour or half hour. I don't know.
Well, my wife's ready for dinner, so.
I got you. A few minutes is good.
Okay.
All right, so we go Illustrator. Get rid of this. Let's open a new document.
So are you already using Creative Cloud?
I am. This will be everything's in the latest. I guess they're calling it 2014 edition.
Okay.
But it should go back quite far. Most of the stuff I'm going to show you.
All right.
It'll probably go back to like CS4, maybe even CS3.
Okay.
Let's see.
I came into the Creative Suite world during CS4, so
Right.
skipped CS5, went to CS6, and then got on the Creative Cloud bandwagon.
So it's just going to open up a few test files I have of some other projects I was working on, but they'll be good to show you how to do different versions.
Okay.
So yeah, you can see here on my screen now, this is a t-shirt design a friend and I came up with, but maybe we'll zoom in on this guy. And you were talking about doing with the paint bucket tool and live paint.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
And this is really good. This works great with live paint. You go object, you probably already know this, but object, live paint make. So it converts all your vector into more, I guess it works a little bit more like Flash.
Ah,
And you can see even on this drawing, I had a stroke for these like little wheat that he was holding, and you can see how I should have expanded out the drawing before I went to live paint because now I just have strokes there rather than the actual wheat.
all right.
But regardless of that, we can use the live paint, and I can change all this tan to white. And if I want to, I can use my arrow keys to, you can see the little three squares above my paint bucket cursor.
Right.
And that's just moving right, like if I wanted to put a gradient on there, I can even do that.
Okay.
But you
That
can
makes
see
sense.
how it's doing each section individually. Where if I wanted the gradient to go across his whole chin, it doesn't really work because it breaks everything up into these chunks.
Sure.
Right. Now, there's other tools to help with that. Like you can go to the shape builder tool and then just, is it going to let me do it? Should. Maybe you need to be like this. Nope. Shape builder. Or you have to exit live paint probably. Live paint release. Nope. Live paint expand. There. Now this should do it. Yeah, you see how things highlight? So if I want the
Okay.
chin to be one big piece, I just go like that.
All right.
You can see up here all these different sections. You
Uh-huh.
grab one section, drag across them. Kind of works more like Flash. People familiar with Flash love this. I think it kind of was brought in when Adobe bought Macromedia.
Okay.
You can see here the hair is broken up into three pieces because of this section I have that makes this little divot behind the hair.
Right.
But now I can make it one shape by just dragging over it. And
Huh.
if you don't want all these gradient effects on there, you can go to your paint bucket tool, and you can see the little. Maybe I'll go with some crazy blue color and just change them on the fly.
All right. I see.
Okay, that works okay when you have like an outlined graphic with like flat colors inside.
Hmm.
But what if you have something like this? If I try and use the paint bucket tool on this, like you can see how complex this drawing is, right?
Indeed. Yes.
And you can see like this isn't separate colors of gray. It's one color of gray, but they have transparency on them. Where I'm
Right.
highlighting here on his blade, same with all the fur. So if I wanted to change the color on this guy, I would use a different technique. Maybe go over on the right-hand side, you can see my layers.
Mm-hmm.
And all the background elements I have locked except for my character, which I can select by hitting just to the right of it.
Okay.
And then I can go Object. I think it's Object. Let's see. No, it's Edit, probably. Yeah, Edit Colors. In the Edit menu down to Colors. And then Adjust. Recolor Artwork's the first one.
Right.
So this works more like Photoshop.
Mm-hmm.
If you're to use like a gradient effect, you have to go in and select each color within the gradient. Well, first select the object, then select each color within the gradient to try and change it. But using this, you can see all the colors used in this drawing. And I can click on one and change each one individually on the fly without actually having to select them in the object itself. It's just selecting everything within that layer because that's what I had highlighted when I went into this tool.
Okay.
You can see just below my color palette at the top of this sort of panel palette, you go into Edit, and again, it's kind of more like a Photoshop or a regular color interface. And then I can link them, and I can say, let's go with more of all the red armor, I'm going to want to be kind of green, go like this.
Ah.
Changes everything on the fly.
Okay. And at any point, you can unlink them and make.
Oh yeah, you could do
minor
individual changes. Like if I think like this that bluish green kind of loincloth he has, maybe I want it to actually be blue. Just drag over the blue and some of these highlight colors.
Okay.
So now only those colors are changing, right?
I see.
Maybe I have too many, so I'll grab this one and I'll just hit delete. Does it delete it? Should delete it. No, it didn't. Remove. I hit right click and then remove color. Takes that color out of the drawing.
Ah.
I mean, some people, I like working in this one. You can come down to where all your sliders are for every single color, and you can work in RGB, web safe colors, whatever you're more comfortable with.
Okay.
You can also play with the brightness and, I guess, saturation of the colors.
Oh wow. That'll definitely make a big impact on what I do because I always just work in the other menu where you just
Right.
change the colors individually.
Yeah, imagine selecting each one of these colors and then going to your color palette and then selecting a new color. It can get crazy. But here, I mean, even like I went from the edit, which we were in, to assign, and even in here you can select all kinds of different colors.
Right.
And change them, like maybe this orange just so I can demonstrate it. We'll go crazy. You go to like dark. You saw it change there in the picture. Maybe we'll go like change it all to purple. You can see the highlights on his armor just changed to purple. Are you seeing that or not?
Yes, I do see it on the top of the shoulder pads and a little bit
All right,
of
cool.
the breastplate. Yeah.
Sometimes you have to hit OK, and then it updates. On my secondary monitor, I have like a final drawing, but that's not updating until I hit the OK button. But that's okay. Let's see. So for illustration purposes, that's one. Here's more of a sort of practical example, I guess. Here we have this logo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it only has a few colors in it, but we can do different versions. Maybe you want to go edit, colors, recolor artwork. And you want it to be totally green. Everything in this will be green. So we'll convert this blue to purple will change as well. There goes 0. And even the red. So now we have our original logo on the left and a new sort of color design on the right. Maybe we bring this one over. last logo. Edit, colors, recolor artwork. And in a logo like this, you have a lot less colors. You could change them on the fly, but I can now just play with different looks, just like that. Boom.
Ah,
So now I have a purple version, right?
and you have it set to link when you were doing that so that all the colors change.
Yeah, like if you only want to change, maybe you only want you like maybe you like the green look, but you only want to change the dots.
Mm-hmm.
Grab your direct selection tool, click on one of the dots, then hold Shift, click on the other dots. When you go Object, or sorry, Edit, Colors, Recolor. Now you can link these. Maybe go red just to be complementary.
Okay.
It keeps the same tones and hues, so this is a little bit of a purpley red, but it didn't change the green technology inside, right? It only changed the dots. And just in a matter of sections, now we have, what, 1, 2, 3, we have the original and 3 other designs, right?
Yeah.
One perfect example of this is you have a logo on a pop can, but you have like lemon flavor, lime flavor, raspberry, and I don't know, black currant. So you want each logo to represent the flavor of the pop. And within a matter of seconds, you can do a red version, a purple version, a green version, and a yellow version. Here's an example of a label I did. And it's got all kinds of transparency in this flower. And to change the colors on that, I mean, I have to select one. Let's see here. You can see the gradients and the transparency, and then I would go to the next leaf and select that one. It could get pretty monotonous, pretty crazy. But if I just select the whole thing, edit, colors, recolor. Again, there's all the colors in the artwork. Go to edit. And I can change them here on the slide wheel. Maybe I just want to darken it up a little bit. Or even brighter. And at the end I say, well, I like what's going on there with the dark and light, but I want to keep my black pretty black. Keep the black. You can see all the flowers now a lot darker.
Yes.
So it's a great alternative, right?
It is, yeah, that makes sense. So let's say you have that whole artwork selected and you only wanted to mess with the colors that fall in the pink hue. So can you select just the colors that are all in that pink hue and lock them together as you move them around the slide there? Does that make sense?
Well, here's one way to select colors.
Sure.
Kind of outside of what I'm talking about, but you can select like something that has the pink in it, right? Let's go here, and then go select, same, and you have all kinds of options. You have select the same fill color, the same fill and stroke color. Appearance pretty much encompasses everything, like transparency. If you have a blended effect on it, those would be only select similar objects. But so we have, let's say, the fill color. So I should select everything with that fill color. Did it for some reason not do it? Select, same, fill color. What is the fill color? Pink. Should work. Oh, unless I have things that are locked, then it won't work. Object, nothing's locked. Interesting. It might be because it's type. Select, same, fill color. There I got most of the flower.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's using the same gradient effect. It might blend out longer on the bigger leaves and smaller on the other ones, but it's the same fill. So.
Okay.
Could select all. Go to my old you can adjust. Is that the one? Yeah, so here we are, CMYK at the top in adjust color balance.
Okay.
But you can say, I want to just play with the cyan. So add more cyan or less cyan, and it's not previewing it. There we go. More magenta.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
More black. I like to keep, if you look in my layers, I have a lot of stuff on different layers. So if I wanted to do like just the pinks or the flowers, I could go keep my flower layer open, lock my logo, lock my other logo. The website I don't want to change, text I don't want to change, mask I don't want to change. And then when I go select all, you can see here the copy's not selected. For some reason this one. I moved all that one to one layer, but in the original you can see that the copy's not selected because I have these layers in my layers palette locked.
Right.
So that's one way to select different parts of your object without, and then when you do the changes, it's only going to affect those parts, right?
Okay, that makes sense.
Here's a button icon. I have lots of locked sections. Unlock them all. Edit, colors, recolor artwork. There's not too many colors in this drawing, but again, on the fly, you could just link them. I like to link them. So it sort of stays in the same sort of mood or feeling, but you're changing. So because I went to red, the main orange icon changed to green because it's the same balance as the original logo, just in a different color, just a different color spectrum, right?
Right. And so on this page where you're at right now, can you select, like, let's just say that you wanted to select the ones that are now currently in the green, and you wanted to move those into the orange for whatever reason.
Right.
When
So
you're on that color wheel, can you select and link those together and just move those colors when you're inside this color wheel? Is
a
that
little,
possible?
a little bit. So we're in the edit tab here, but if we go to the assign tab, you can see where I changed the blue to green,
Right.
and then these oranges went to red.
Right.
So if I wanted to make one of these oranges this green, I can just drag it up there.
Okay. All
But
right.
but you can also see that it swaps them. So
Oh, okay. All
it's
right. I see.
not exactly, but one thing you can try and do is you can create color groups.
Hmm.
Do you use Cooler at all?
I have. I've used it on occasion.
Yeah, it's a good way to get different color groups, and you can get them in different sort of themes, like how do I say it? Like there's different ways to show here in Cooler. Did I lose it? Oh, there it is.
Cooler is community generated. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think Adobe puts in their standards, but don't want to have everything selected when you're in the Cooler. But you can select one. So you can see how I have this color group now in here, and it's actually in a folder. And
Right.
you can make your own folders too by, somewhere, yeah, new color group. Don't have anything selected. Or
I'm
select
familiar with
colors
doing that.
outside, maybe the original ones.
Right.
New color group. Now, I'll select the object again. Let's do a new one. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, there we go. So we have this selected, and I will, oops, sorry. I have my new color group there. I don't know how this is going to look graphically, but recolor artwork. And you'll notice on the right, that color group is there.
I see.
You have auto colors here. One sort of as an aside, I could change my design into a 3-color. So
Ah.
it's taken all the colors within that design and made it a 3-color. And you can type in whatever number you want, or you can do a 5-color. And you can see where it merged these lighter grays into like Let's see. Yeah, so like orange here, you can see underneath there's like two different oranges that have made into one, and I
Okay.
guess a gray as well. But I don't want to do that. Say I made this color theme, I want to apply that,
Right.
and you can just click on the color theme and instantly it changes.
Huh.
Or maybe you just want to take maybe one color from the original, bring that in. Should do it. Let's see if I click on this. Is it gonna let me? Yeah. So that one color got changed. Or did it change them all? No, it did. It changed them all. Yeah, I hate that. I was experimenting with that the other day. I thought that'd be a good add-on, but changed them all.
It would be a good idea.
Uh, you can also play with tints and shades of that color in a little flyout here. I don't use it very often, but that could definitely come in. Like if you went to maybe a one-color design, and then some of these changed colors, you could do like, well, I want the same blue, but I want this one to be a lighter blue, and that one to be a darker blue.
I see.
For me, it's more, it sort of leans to the way you do editing in Photoshop, right? You just play with sliders, um, move colors around that way rather than select an object, change its color, select an object, change its color.
I was in Photoshop for so long, and then I learned how much fun Illustrator was.
Illustrator is my favorite program.
Yeah, I like it.
But I mean, nothing against the others. Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, they work so well together.
Oh yeah.
Let's see, do I have another one? Yeah, this little guy, maybe we just want to change his greens or something. Or, yeah, I did that one already. Nothing in there. Did the button one. Zombie one. Edit. Colors. You can even here just play with saturation or convert it to grayscale.
Oh. Huh. See, I haven't played around in the colors panel too much. I mean, I just, like I said, I had the basic knowledge of, recolor artwork, and I had just learned how to use the live paint tool.
Right.
So that's super helpful. But it seems like what you're saying here, the best option for if you have a whole bunch of different objects of the same color to get them to change their color quickly, the best option is going to be that live paint. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, if you have colors with transparency on them, live paint is going to be difficult. Every time you click on one of those transparency sections, it's not going to be transparent anymore, or it might maintain the transparency. But if you have like transparent 50% green on top of 100% green that's the same color, you're not going to see any effect, right?
Right.
So for me, I work with a lot of transparency in my art, so I have to get around that.
Sure.
But a simple logo, yeah, totally. Especially if you have a lot of preset colors, like you have sort of your color palette set up, because you can even use gradients. Gradients, like maybe this guy could have designed more of a flat look, but put gradients on his face just to give him a little bit of texture. Like his shirt is just a gradient, right? The
Right.
main part of the shirt.
So are you creating what you refer to as the transparencies? Are you creating those when you create the gradient by changing the opacity of one of your blends? Is that
Yeah,
what
like this part I have selected on him now. If you look over here in the transparency of the color, it's 40%.
okay. All right.
Um, this darker area, that's 40% as well. This one
Okay.
is 40%, but because this area is bigger, where the two 40% overlap, you end up getting darker.
Sure.
Um, one thing that really helps me with that is instead of selecting an object and then having to go over and change the transparency, see if I can remember where I did this. I did so long ago. I go to, yeah, keyboard shortcuts.
Right.
And in here you get tons of options to manage all your shortcuts. But if you scroll down, you'll see you get opacity of 0, 10, 20, all the way up to 100. And I added these shortcuts where I made 10% my key number 1. and the shortcut for 20% is 2, and 30% all the way down, right?
Oh,
Now
that's
100%,
super helpful.
100%, I can't use 1 because it's already taken for 10%, so I use Shift 1.
Okay.
So now, grab my little pen. Let's grab a color. What's a good color? Let's use blue. And I'll grab the blob brush tool just to demo. Now if I go select that, Shift 1, it goes 100%. But if I hit 3, it goes 30%. And if I copy that object, of course, where they overlap becomes darker, right?
It does. That's an excellent shortcut.
Maybe,
I'll have to remember that one.
yeah, maybe this one on top is, maybe I want it really subtle, or maybe I want it even white. Maybe it's a highlight or something. But I'm like, the 30% doesn't work, so I just hit 1 and it goes to 10%. Problem is, they're not there by default. If you start hitting 1, 2, 3, you're like, nothing's happening. Another thing you have to watch for, but it's pretty intuitive on how it does it, is type, right? So if I hit 1 now, it types the number 1. It doesn't change my transparency.
Right.
So I just go to my direct selection tool, and then I hit 1, and it changes the transparency.
And that's, you said, for text.
Yeah, because
Okay.
obviously your shortcut keys are the same as items you want to touch. I learned that pretty quick. I was like, this isn't going to work, but it does work. You just have to be aware.
Direct selection.
Yeah, so like up here, you could see I could change some of these greens. Maybe I can make them more intense or less intense, change the artwork by using select, same appearance, and that selects all those green highlights. I could change it to 100%. It's obviously too intense, but I could go maybe 70. And on the fly, just sort of play with it until I get it where I want. 50 and then 40, 30. Maybe we'll stay at 40. Looks okay.
Yes.
Maybe grab this shadow, because maybe we want to make our shadows more intense. Select same appearance. Selected all my shadow greens. And I can go to 100% is obviously too intense. It's kind of okay, but let's go to 70. Stronger than it used to be and not bad. Maybe 50. 50 you might think is too light, so you go 60. And I do that by hitting like 60 was 6, 50 was 5, etc.
Right.
It's a good way to change color if you're working with transparency. One thing I will say though is like these shapes like this one here, that's not too bad actually. But you can get crazy with some, like there's not too many control points on these shapes.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably because I simplified them. Like when I first drew them, there was probably like 1,000 control points on there. Illustrator in the last couple versions has really done some things to try and help with that. Because if you got 1,000 control points on one little shape, and then you're doing all these layers of multiple shapes, you're going to have like 1 billion control points in your final drawing, and your computer's going to be chugging so slow to try and basically work with all that data, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. That makes
One quick way to fix that is go path, simplify. So it's object path simplify.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, this isn't that bad on the little example I have selected, but then you can play with, you can see 26 points. I still pretty much have the same shape,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm down to 11 points.
Nice.
Now I've seen things go from like 20,000 points. It's at 95% the original shape, and I'm down to like a few hundred points. I'm like, why doesn't it just draw it that way originally? Not sure, but another thing, the pencil tool, which got updated in the last couple editions, pretty amazing. If you double tap on it, they've added this slider so you can be more accurate or less accurate. And obviously, the less accurate, the smoothing feature, I really love.
Right.
And it puts less control points. Let's see, like more accurate. Very similar stroke. A lot more control points.
Ah,
And that pencil tool, you got smooth tool. You can smooth it out. Oh, it is pretty smooth. And that's the smooth tool. But if you go back to your original pencil tool and draw on top of these, it'll redraw the shape. But maybe I like the top part, so I just redraw the bottom part. Object, path, simplify. You see that same stroke now, a lot smoother, and it's only 3 points from 22.
nice.
Add a stroke on it. I got transparency on it, I think, yeah. So just shift 1. It's 100% now. Yeah, you can see I worked with the gradients on this drawing. That's gradient, that's gradient. I like the paint bucket tool. I really got into it maybe a year or so ago, and then I started, like, most of these tools here, paint bucket, and when I was getting into like editing colors, that kind of stuff, I would do everything individually. I was like, why do they even create these tools? Like, they should spend the time on the tools everybody uses, not the ones nobody uses. And I realized, oh, everybody's using them. It's me who's not using them. And I was like, okay, so let's figure it out. And sure enough, they're amazing tools. Like, I'm
Yeah,
like, why would you want to use the pencil tool or the brush tool when you have the pen tool here, right?
absolutely.
But the pen tool actually, for people who've never used it, is, it's kind of hard to get your mind around how Bezier curves work and stuff.
It's intimidating to know when, and then to go back and fix and make it an angled curve or,
Anybody new to Illustrator, I do recommend they learn that tool, because even though the new pencil tool is pretty amazing, I always tend to go back and edit it, right? And that's when
absolutely.
I'll go back with the groundwork from that tool.
Well, one of the best things and the best ways to learn is to lay an image down on a layer and, learn to trace it out. So, I mean, that
Totally.
teaches you to understand how it works and learning how to, stop I don't know what the official term is, but stopping the curve where you go back and alt click the point so that it does,
Right.
a point as opposed to a curve.
Is there anything else with color that you?
No, I mean, I think that answers my questions. Bill, you provided me with a lot of new information that I didn't know. And I think some things that I can add to my toolbox as far as how I, you know,
Right.
do my workflow in Illustrator.
Yeah, that when I learned about the color palette was with the sort of different flavors of pop example. You want your grape logo, you want your purples, you want your lime one with greens, and you want your lemon one with yellows. And just
Right.
on the fly, it's boom, boom, boom. You have 3 cans of pop with the same logo in 3 different styles.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Uh, Another one example could be you have your company and maybe you have 3 sister companies underneath it. So you kind of want to use the same color palette but maybe tweaked a little bit. And they will probably have the main part of the umbrella company's logo in some of the smaller logos. So you can sort of on the fly just try different color options and go, wow, I really like the blue one. So that'll be for whatever Division West or something. I don't know.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Well, I think I hear the wife calling me, so
Good
I'm gonna
idea.
have to cut it short. I'm so sorry, but I do appreciate you taking your time.
Oh, no, absolutely. If you actually do projects using it or you have any other questions, let me know or send me, what you actually got out of it and used in the real world. I'd love to see it.
Absolutely. And it's great that we're already connected on Google Plus and, that way we can, chat back and forth and stuff. So,
Right. One thing I was thinking is maybe, I don't know, maybe start maybe like monthly or every 2 weeks to do this and get more people. So there'll be like sort of like how you ask questions, but get other people to ask questions too and have like a group of, I don't know, 5 or 8 people. What do you think of that? You think that would work, or?
Yeah, that would be good because it seems like that may be one of the things that, the Adobe Illustrator club there in the communities is lacking is a centralized platform where collective brain trust can come and then actually demonstrate
Right.
what
And like I'm sharing my screen now, but somebody else who would be in the chat, could we flip over and see their screen?
I believe so. I think yeah,
Because that could
you
work really good if I don't have the answer and somebody else in the group says, "Well, I did that on a project, 2 months ago." Great,
yeah,
show us.
yeah, because I think through the administrator panel, let's see, yeah, look, um, yeah, I think you as the moderator have the ability to turn over. Let's see if I hit. Yeah. So I can for instance throw this up. I was just throwing together, and so now you're taking a look at my screen. So if I
Perfect.
were, I was just goofing around over here to the side while you were working, so I could play with some of the concepts. But
Yeah, sure.
but yeah, so I have the ability here to share whichever screen that I have thrown up at the moment. So I can definitely do that.
And then if I went back in and clicked on mine, said start screen share. Now we're back online. Perfect. Okay, great. I'll let you get to your dinner and your family. And I don't know how long it's going to take before I make this go live. I'll shoot you an email when I do.
Okay, that's cool. And also, let's just stay connected and we'll figure out how we can get these done on a regular basis.
Is there anything you want to plug so when the video does go up? I mean, keep it somewhat generic because you don't have a time frame, but
No, no, nothing I really need to plug right now, but I do appreciate the opportunity.
well, that's one reason to do these things, right? If anybody
Absolutely.
wants to learn about me, they can always find me at billmurphy.ca.
All right, and I guess I am at jacobwilder.co, so
Great.
there's my plug.
Thanks for hanging out. Hope we got something out of it.
Absolutely. So you take
Okay,
care, Bill.
bigger.